Harry Kane is refusing to play for Tottenham Hotspur ever again. What's up guys, KSWTV here, back again with a brand new video, and today we've got some massive news regarding Man City and transfer news, but in particular Harry Kane. Now I think it's pretty known by a lot of people that Harry Kane does not want to be at Tottenham Hotspur for the 21-22 season. He has just finished, I'd say, a really good Euro 2020 campaign, really catching the eyes of Pep Guardiola if he hadn't already. And he's been on a holiday to the Bahamas with his family, and he's come back and was meant to go to training yesterday for the first time since his Euro 2020 campaign. But in a stand to try and force his way out of the club, Harry Kane has not turned up to Tottenham Hotspur training, and it looks like he's trying to make a stand to never play for Tottenham Hotspur ever again. Now this is on the basis of what Harry Kane thinks is a gentleman's agreement between him and owner Daniel Levy. But it seems like Daniel Levy isn't on the same page as what Harry Kane thinks he is, which could lead to probably the biggest transfer saga in modern football history. Now Harry Kane is tied down 3 years into a 6-year contract that he signed with Tottenham Hotspur in 2019, which I thought was probably one of the dumbest decisions he could have done at that time. But if you looked on the back of where they came from, they had Pochettino, they made it to a Champions League final. It really looked like there was a project there. But when you have one of the most arrogant and one of the worst negotiators owning your football club, it's going to be very hard to force a move unless they pay top dollar for Harry Kane. Now I read somewhere that Daniel Levy is going to let Harry Kane go, but not for anything less than £200 million. Just saying that makes me physically sick. How can you actually think you're going to get 200 million? Regardless if that's Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe, Neymar, no one is going to pay over 200 million for one player. Especially in the times we are now with coronavirus ravaging some football clubs, and it is affecting Man City too, regardless how much you think of the embarrassment of riches we've got, it's going to take a toll on our club too. Since that interview with Gary Neville, I think it was pretty obvious that Harry Kane wanted to leave Tottenham Hotspur, and it was very clear he wanted to partner up with Kevin De Bruyne, as it's one of his best players, or who he thinks is one of the best players in the Premier League. So it was pretty obvious that he wanted to come to Pep Guardiola's team at the Etihad for this season. But why? Pep Guardiola's team at Man City is the only possible way I could think of guaranteed trophies in the Premier League right now. The project that Man City's got, with the amount of money, the resources that they've got, and the depth in their team, you're pretty much guaranteed at least one trophy, whether that's a Carabao Cup, Premier League or FA Cup. You're guaranteed silverware when you put on that sky blue shirt. And Harry Kane is one of the best strikers in the world, if not the best, behind Robert Lewandowski, but he hasn't won one trophy at Tottenham Hotspur. And history isn't kind to people that don't win trophies. No matter if he breaks the Alan Shearer record, no matter if he goes to a Champions League final with Tottenham, no one's going to remember that. Only if he gets trophies is Harry Kane's legacy going to be remembered. What does Harry Kane mean to Tottenham Hotspur? Having Harry Kane at the club means they've got a really professional football player, number one. Number two, they can attract many people in the transfer market to come to Tottenham Hotspur because they haven't got European football this year. Well, I think they're playing in the Europa Conference League, so basically no Europe football. They've got a top 3 striker in the world, if not top 2 behind Robert Lewandowski. And the most important reason I say, keeping Harry Kane at Tottenham Hotspur gives them a fighting chance of getting European football. Now, let's say this deal goes through for the 150 million that it's been priced around, 150, 160 million. What is Harry Kane going to bring to Manchester City? With it looks like Jack Grealish might be on personal terms agreed with the club and is looking to go for a medical sometime this week. The Jack Grealish deal might be going through, which could maybe put a stint on Harry Kane's transfer, but let's say we get both. With a team of Harry Kane up front, Raheem Sterling on the left, or Phil Foden, Mahrez on the right, and then in the middle, Rodri, KDB and Jack Grealish. Are you serious? That's 35 plus goals minimum just in the Premier League for Harry Kane, I guarantee. As I said before, he's going to bring a lot of experience. He's one of the most professional players in the Premier League right now, and Man City's pretty much guaranteed trophies every year. He might be able to secure us the holy grail of all trophies, the Champions League. Harry Kane can bring another captain-like figure to the team. He could be on the board of captains with Ruben Dias, KDB and Fernandinho. You can't complain if you're getting another captain-like figure in your team to motivate the team, especially if we're down 1 or 2-0. He'll be able to cheer up the team, get us up, put our heads up high, and maybe push on for a comeback in some games. Kane has revolutionized his game. He's able to drop really deep and hold the ball up and push it forward. He's great with his back to goal, and as we all know, his finishing is second to none. Very accurate, very tall, very good in the air as well. He can bring so much to Man City that we don't already have, considering we have one of the shortest teams in the Premier League, if not in Europe. As I mentioned before, Jack Grealish talks are going ahead. It looks like he might be going for a medical to Man City. If not, it looks like Villa is going to secure Jack Grealish on a contract extension. But let's say this goes through or nearly goes through, that's going to be even more tempting for Harry Kane to come to have one of the 2 best English talents in the country, in the league, at Man City, joined by the likes of Phil Foden, John Stones and Kyle Walker. Now, how do I think this is going to play out for Harry Kane and Tottenham Hotspur respectively? Daniel Levy is going to be pretty much a brick wall. He's not going to listen to anything Harry Kane is saying. Past has shown he's done that with players like Michael Carrick, Luka Modric when it came to a Chelsea transfer, even Gareth Bale at some points, trying to get that extra 10-15 million that he really wasn't entitled to. But it's going to be like talking to a brick wall of Harry Kane. This gentleman's agreement that he thinks is happening is definitely not happening. As I said before, I read Daniel Levy wants no less than 200 million straight cash for Harry Kane, or 150 plus a player, which is ridiculous funds. It's honestly mouth-watering how stupid that is. I feel if Harry Kane is going to get a move, I think it won't be until the end of next season, because unless, as I said before, we pay the money Daniel Levy wants, I don't think he's going to let go of Kane. He's not going to let go of his prize jewel in his team. A team that wants to get back in European football, European contention and Premier League contention. And if you lose your best player, then yeah, you'll get 150 million for it. You'll be able to bring in 3-4 world-class players with that money. But are they going to gel straight away? Are they going to be able to give the contributions Harry Kane has given Tottenham Hotspur over the last X amount of years that he's played for him? I don't think so. They've brought in a goalkeeper, Galini from Atalanta, and they're looking to bring in a brand new centre-back. I forget the name off the top of my head, but it looks like Daniel Levy's trying to convince Harry Kane that this is still a project. He's given Son a contract extension, so he's trying to convince him with players that probably they're not proven in the Premier League. They're not proven in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt. So how are they going to convince Harry Kane, one of the most proven players in the Premier League right now, that this is still the project that once was? Is this still the project that got us to the Champions League final? It's nowhere near that, and it's only going to be an uphill battle from here for Tottenham Hotspur, even with Harry Kane in the team. Do I want Harry Kane at Man City? Is the Pope a Catholic? Obviously I want Harry Kane at the team. That's going to be 35 plus goals just in the Premier League, a possibility of winning a Champions League or 2. He would secure us back-to-back Premier League titles, I think, just on his own without Jack Grealish coming in. And I like him as a player. I like him as a person. He seems like a true professional, someone who'd be dedicated to the Pep Guardiola system. Even though he's one of the most proven Premier League players, he's going to get there and start from the bottom up, work his way up in the team, try and convince Pep that he is the man for the job and that he can play the role that Pep Guardiola wants him to do. And there's no better way to replace Sergio Aguero, in my opinion, the best Man City player ever to play, and probably top 3 strikers I've ever watched in my life, with Harry Kane, who is probably, in my opinion, the second best striker behind Robert Lewandowski, as I've said before. Look, if I'm Pep Guardiola right now, I'm going to be trying to offer maybe 100 million, 110 max, and like a Gabriel Jesus or a Bernardo Silva. You're going to have to replace Harry Kane at Tottenham with another striker, so I'd probably be more of a chance getting Gabriel Jesus over to Tottenham. But it's going to be one of those decisions: is Gabriel Jesus going to want to go to Tottenham, especially from a successful team like Man City in recent times? Is he going to want to go to a team with no European football? Yes, he might get triple, if not quadruple, the amount of game time that he's getting at City. But is it really worth it when you're pretty much losing every week because you've lost your best player at Tottenham, and you're meant to be following in those footsteps, when honestly it takes him about 3 or 4 good shots to score a goal in a Man City shirt as it is? It's going to be one of those transfers that's just going to come down to the wire. It looks like even if this does go through, I can't see this going through anytime soon for at least another 2.5 to 3 weeks minimum. But we're just going to have to see how this plans out in the transfer window between Harry Kane and Daniel Levy respectively. That's just been my talks on the Harry Kane situation with Tottenham, and it looks like he's trying to force his way out of the club. And it's just going to be one of those transfers where it's going to come down to the wire. If he does come to Man City, it's probably not going to go down to maybe the final week of August, the week before the transfer window closes. And it's going to be one of those transfers that he's just going to have to rush, get through the medicals, get through the deal and contracts and all that. But as I said before, the acquisition of Grealish could make this even more harder. If we're going to spend 100 million on Grealish, are we going to spend another 120 plus million plus a player possibly for Harry Kane? It'd be worth it in the long run, but it's going to be one of those things with financial fair play and just the depth of the team already. It's going to be a lot to figure out how this deal is going to be working. Thank you guys so much for watching. I haven't uploaded in the last week or so. There's literally been nothing interesting to make a video about. It's just been the same rumors: Kane, Grealish. Now there's some about Grimaldo coming, left back from Benfica. So it's gonna be a weird transfer window, this one, but it could be one of the most successful in recent times for Man City. We are going to have to spend a lot of money this transfer window to upgrade our squad, considering how good the depth and how expensive our squad is anyway. And if anyone comes for a player, especially if you're Manchester City, whatever club that is going to demand the most cash possible.
You're alone, sitting home, waiting by the phone. No crew, only you, nothing left to do. You call on me when you're chilling and you're sipping on your Alizé. It's getting late, no day, now you wanna play.